We're going to start multiplication of polynomials today, and before we do that, we're going to do a quick reminder of something we did earlier in the year. When we multiply something like 5x times x, this number 5 doesn't have another number to multiply it by, so it comes over to our answer. And then when we multiply x times x is defined as x squared. What we're doing here is using the rule that says if this is x to the first times x to the first, when you multiply numbers that have the same base, you add their exponents. Over here, I have 3, and I have x squared times x. So that's x squared times another x becomes x to the third. 2 plus 1 is 3. Here we have multiple numbers. I have -4 and 2, and we can move these factors all around because of commutative properties. So I'm going to multiply the -4 times the 2 first, and then I'm going to multiply x squared times x to the fifth. And again, the rule is when you have a product of powers, you add the exponents. So this becomes -8x to the seventh. We're going to use this in our multiplication today. What we're going to do today is multiply a polynomial by a monomial. Remember, a monomial only has one term. So we're going to have one term multiplying many terms. When you multiply a monomial times a polynomial, you use the distributive property. We learned this earlier in the year. If you have a times the quantity b plus c, you have to distribute the a and multiply a times b and multiply a times c. We'll start off with some simple examples. Here I have a 3 multiplying x squared plus 2x. So this is the monomial 3 times the binomial x squared plus 2x. I'm going to distribute the 3. I multiply 3 times x squared plus 3 times 2 is 6x. Here I need to distribute my -2. When I distribute a negative, be careful with my signs. -2 times 3x squared, -2 times 3 is -6x squared, and then -2, this is -8. Negative times negative is plus 16. In both of these examples, our monomial was a constant. We can also use our product of powers rule, which I talked about in the warm-up, in order to multiply by a monomial that's not a constant. Again, if you have x to the a times x to the b, you get x to the a plus b. So here, I'm going to multiply the 3x times the x squared plus 4. When I multiply 3x times x squared, remember this x is x to the first, I get 3 x squared first, x to the first times x squared is x to the 1 plus 2, x to the third. Plus, I'm going to multiply 3x times 4x. 3 times 4 is 12, and then I have x to the first times x to the first, which is x to the second. In this example, I'm going to distribute the x squared. X squared times 2x. Again, if I want, I can put a 1 here to make it easier. So I have x squared times 2x. The only number is 2. X squared times x is x to the third. Then I multiply x squared times 10, and we always write it as 10x squared with the coefficient times the variable. A couple more examples with some more a little higher exponents. I'm going to distribute this 3x to the fourth. 3 times 8 is 24. X to the fourth times x squared, I add the exponents. 4 plus 2 is x to the sixth. Then I do 3 times -11, so this is -33 x to the fourth. Over here, I'm going to distribute the -2x squared. -2 times 4 is -8. X squared times x cubed, 2 plus 3 is x to the fifth. -2x squared times -8x, -2 and -8 becomes plus 16. X squared times x is x to the 2 plus 1 is 3. This is the kind of multiplication that you're going to do today. I'm just going to do a couple more examples where the polynomials are bigger. All of those other ones, it was a monomial times a binomial. We can also do this by a trinomial or anything bigger. So let's do this example over here. I have 5x cubed and I'm going to multiply it by this polynomial, which is 1, 2, 3, 3 terms, a trinomial, 7x squared minus 4x plus 1. I multiply the 5x cubed times the 7x squared. I get 35. I add my exponents to get x to the 5th. 5 times minus 4 is minus 20. X cubed times x to the 1st becomes x to the 4th. And then 5x cubed times 1 is still 5x cubed. So no matter how many terms are on the inside, I'm doing the same thing. I just have to make sure I distribute and multiply every term by whatever's outside the parentheses. I'll do one more down here. I have a monomial times a polynomial with 4 terms. It really doesn't matter how many terms there are. I just multiply the monomial by everything inside the parentheses. 3x squared times 4x cubed. You get 12x to the 2 plus 3. 3x squared times 2x squared. 3 times 2 is 6. X squared times x squared. 2 plus 2 is x to the 4th. 3x squared times minus 5x. Positive times negative is negative 15. X squared times x to the 1st is x to the 3rd. 3x squared times 8. 3 times 8 is 24, x squared. Don't leave off the x squared on that last term. You need to multiply the 3x squared all the way through. So you're going to do multiplication today, and then next week we'll be doing some multiplication where it's not just a monomial, but a binomial times a binomial or even bigger.